Hello and welcome to episode 6 of In Isolation. The weeks are ticking by. It's UK Climbing's competition climbing chat show. Charlie Boscoe here, joined as ever by Natalie Berry and Mike Langley. And we've got very special guests, European champion. What did we agree on just now? Academic.
We did not agree.
Staša Gejo joining us from Munich. How's life in Munich?
Hi, guys. Well, it's pretty dull. That's all I can say. It's not the Munich I'm used to, not the Munich I fell in love with. So let's say how long it will last. I hope not for long.
Not the Munich where you won your European Championship.
Not the same Munich. No, not anymore.
Just to get it in for a second time. But obviously we want to talk all things competitions. You started climbing at a really young age. You had climbing parents.
Yeah.
What was that like? Did you like it straight away? Were you pushed into it in the nicest possible way, or was it a passion from early on?
I have mixed feelings about it. I can't say I loved it on the first sight. I mean, define first sight, if you grow up, the first sight is like every now and then, you don't even really remember how you felt about it. You're just like brought into it, and that's your life. You do have a choice that you can say goodbye climbing. I don't want to do this. Many people have done that, and also I know a few friends. But I kind of never wanted to leave it, even though there were times where I didn't like it at all. But the thing behind is my parents saw a lot of potential, and they were considered to be freaks for pushing me. I don't know, but they weren't really pushing. I mean, they were just doing what they thought was right to fulfill the potential. And it would be really a shame if that would be wasted and if they would just let me do whatever the hell I want. And I give them absolute right for that, of course. But there were a lot of friends and people around criticizing our relationship with each other and with climbing, because climbing was defining our lives. Climbing was defining what are we going to eat today, and where are we going next month, and similar things. So I was very young. I couldn't really decide stuff on my own. So when I was about 11, that's when we started traveling around Europe, going to other countries' national competitions, because the competition in our own country in Serbia wasn't hard enough, wasn't challenging enough. So I spent a lot of time in Bulgaria, in Macedonia, in Imst. That's kind of where I grew up, actually. After the second stage of climbing was in Imst. And that's where I got to meet a lot of my current competitors. That's how I met Hannah Schubert, for example. And we still compete together. And yeah, it's like friendships that kind of last really forever. Also Julia Kruder, when I was competing in the Slovenian nationals for the first time, that was the first girl everybody warned me about. She's really strong. She's like the best in the country, in the category. She's your biggest competitor. And it was fun during all these years to watch how everything evolved and how many of us started climbing with our parents and doing this exact same thing, traveling around, trying to find some financial support for these travels, and everybody thinks you're crazy, you're pushing your child, you think your child is a wunderkind or something exceptional. It's just a kid. It's like a 13-year-old that won a medal on some stupid European Cup. I mean, who looks at that? She might turn her back every second. So there are a lot of challenges in front of you. So you have to be the best in order to get something, in order to try and get to know something bigger, something better. To travel further, you have to prove yourself that you're worth it. So if you wanted to do that, you had to work hard from really young age. And that's basically my life, working hard. And many people know that. I can't change that. When I have easy periods, like relaxing, I don't know how to do this. It's not defined in my dictionary, really. So yeah, I liked it and I didn't like it, and it's still like that. I still like it and don't like it, but that's it. I can't really. I've gone too far to change that, and I don't want to change it. The actual joy and pleasure that success gives, and the good sides of it, is way better and bigger than anything else.
At the very beginning, was there a scene at all in Serbia? Was there any competitions going down, or did you have to just travel from the very beginning?
There was a pretty strong competition scene in the senior category, but I was too young at that time. My mother was still competing and my sister. The girls category was really strong at that time. The three of them, my mom, my sister, and another girl, Gabriela, they were the strongest in the field. And then when I appeared at one point, they allowed me to compete when I was around 12 or something. They let me in. So I started fighting with them, being like fifth, sixth, sometimes third. And then there was one point, I think, where I beat my mother and I was third or something. I think that was one of the comps where she stopped competing. Yeah.
That's the time
I
to
don't
hang up
know.
your boots.
Yeah. It's like if your daughter beats you, that's it. But it was a very challenging time period. That's like where I had to overcome a lot of my fears, doing lead flipping, falling. When you're young, it's not that easy. Also, bouldering comps were sometimes scary. So I had some people to look up to. I had the challenges, but not in my age category, sadly. So the seniors were my hardest level, let's say, even though I was going around in youth cups around the country and the Balkans. But then I guess with progress, also a lot of these old school women quit at that time. So there was not much of a scene left. The guys group was really strong still for a long time. So I kind of tried comparing and climbing together with them so I could still get some improvements. But that's when the girls group started a bit to sink. Nowadays, the kids comps are a lot stronger than the adults. Adults somehow switched to rock climbing more than comps. So.
Who did you look up to? Maybe internationally? Did you have any climbing heroes outside of your mum and your sister that you admired?
At that time, I met Angela Eiter in Imst, and she was in her peak of her career at that time. She was insanely popular in Austria, and I got to watch her train in Imst, and she was the one I actually loved observing in the Kletterhalle. I got to meet her in person, got to talk to her, and then since we were in Imst every winter, she got to know her family as well. So she was one of the first idols, let's say. I remember that time. And also trained a bit in Tivoli in Innsbruck within the old gym. Schubert was there doing his rounds up and down, endless training like crazy. David Lama as well. And so many of these Austrian stars that were actually like at their peaks at that time, and the new stars rising. So I was kind of more brought into the Austrian scene, let's say. But I loved watching also Adam Ondra's videos when I was a kid. Also some competition videos. I think my first live stream that I watched was Arco World Championship a long time ago. That was the first actual comp that I sat down, opened the computer. I was old enough to do that and to actually look up what's going on internationally on the World Cup circuit. So yeah, the Arco was the one. Also another person to mention, Johanna Ernst.
Yeah.
She was, that time she was so young, winning the comps in the senior competitions, and also got to meet her and her father. They also trained in Innsbruck. So yeah, I was there seeing all that and wanting to become all that.
What was it like in those early days? Because obviously you started out with the European Youth Cups, but you would, correct me if I'm wrong, the only kind of good Serbian traveling around on your own. Do you think that opened you up to new ideas in a way? You weren't part of a team, you didn't have a big support network and coaches and physios, and you had to just see what other people were doing.
Yeah, it's a lot of observations of what big teams look like and what can we learn from just watching them function and stuff. So yes, I was alone and I'm still alone in this with my parents. It sounds ridiculous. It seems ridiculous. Of course, like 22-year-old girl traveling with her parents to World Cups. I mean, come on. It sounds a bit crazy to somebody who doesn't know us. But that's it. If we can't do more, I guess we function well as a team, and that's what we do. My mom finished her high medical school for physiotherapist, so she is qualified for that. And father is a very experienced man who can do team management, I guess. So kind of works well. But I think my first experience with the team and actually being a part of some bigger organization was when I started training with the Slovenian youth climbing team. That was in 2012 when we started cooperating. The national team coach at the time for the youth team was Borut Kavzar, and he invited me regularly to their team training. So I would go and stay in Slovenia for 2 weeks every summer, or several times a year even. He organized that I sleep at the other teammates' houses. So every few days I would move to another town where the training was. So it kind of worked out well. I'd get picked up on the airport, stay there for a while, then we would go on competition. So I kind of experienced this team spirit for the first time, like for real. Being there during the training process, going to the competition, supporting team meetings, everything. I spent quite a lot of time with the Slovenian youth team. So that kind of motivated me also to move there. They also didn't have physios and stuff at the time. It was really unknown a few years ago what physios should actually do with climbers. But then you get to first World Cup and you get to see to which kind of organization it all happens and what kind of level, how many people come and how many people are involved in the functioning of one team. So you just sit and watch and enjoy the view, I guess, and try to repeat that exercise at home. But being alone kind of pushes you more. It is harder support-wise, moral-wise, because it's all 3 people that are your blood, literally. And you share the house, you share the blood, share the genes, and you share the competitions as well. So it's not easy. It's absolutely not easy to be sharing the personal and the professional life. It becomes one. There's no separation. It's one thing, literally. But you learn how to live with it, I guess. All the personal conflicts affect the professional part and vice versa. So you can't make a straight line and say this is here, this is there. But it is something special. It's more analytical, more critical, more honest. There's no caring about if the communication will affect the athlete or the coach, or if there will be a misunderstanding, or if the coach is mentally not really present in the process and so on. Like, you don't have these things. It's because you all 3 work. You have some kind of advices here and there and other people that help with certain trainings and stuff, but it's basically you who guide everything. And it's a big plus. It's a big plus that you can actually trust the most the people that are inside.
It's such an interesting dynamic, this relationship you have with your parents and then being your coaches. Could you say there's one thing in particular that they really taught you that's really put you in such a fantastic position, doing so well these days?
Hard work and discipline, I think. I mean, nowadays, the training doesn't really look like they tell me what to do. I mean, most of the trainings I do myself. I also have a help from a conditional coach. So we work things together, and then I share it with the parents, and then we mutually agree on what is good, what is not good, what worked before, what we should try again. They're really good critics of my visuals of my climbing, so they can see really well what I'm doing wrong and what I've changed. What is a good change? What is a bad change? If I can't jump, if my hips are too stiff, if my technique is gone bad. I always trust their opinion on that. And then I know what I have to fix. And then I know what I have to work on. Because sometimes they see the points I'm not capable of seeing. And this is like the major thing. But what I've picked up the most from this whole upbringing and the whole childhood and everything is just hard work and not wasting the opportunities you're given. So going big for everything, literally.
Did that hard work ever lead to some, some teenage tantrums or anything like that?
No.
Never.
It's only you who has tantrums at the World Cup. Right?
Where is my tea?
Nah. But I guess I like the way my life went. And there are not many things I'd like to change at all. So I get criticized that I'm too strict, that I'm too critical for myself. That might be true. But I don't know. It works, I guess.
You mentioned training with the Slovenians. What was the main thing that you learned from training with them? You mentioned your team spirit, getting to train with other climbers. Was that one of the most important things?
It was actually, yeah. Getting to know how the team works and learning some new approaches to training, I guess, that I still use nowadays in many ways. The rhythm, the rests, when I moved to Slovenia, I started training a lot more, of course. And it changed my perception on training and how you structure things. I learned a lot. Good things and bad things, and what works, what doesn't work. And I kind of picked up the best out of everything I could learn with them.
Well, the secrets to getting strong.
Yeah, they're not really that secret, actually. When people say, yeah, the Slovenian team, they're so good because, I don't know, they have some secrets. But I'm still figuring it out. I guess it is a part of the team spirit, a part of an idea, a dream that a small country can accomplish so much, and that they have good climbers, they have this strong spirit. It's just about the motivation, individual connected together and unified. They work together, and I don't know how often it happens in other teams. Don't have much experience with that, but they know how to make a good cake out of all the ingredients.
Going back slightly again, you talked about how you were climbing with all your heroes effectively. The Angie Eiter, David Lahm was in the wall, Jakob was in the wall, Johanna Ernst. What was it like when you stepped up to senior level? Was it a shock, or did you think, oh wow, I can live at this level?
I have one particular moment. Yes, I was still training with the Slovenian team as in the youth team, but we didn't really mix with the senior team. And Mina Markovic was crushing it at that time. She was like the best of the best. And I started then competing at their national championships and senior ones. And it happened to be, I was in finals with, I think Janja wasn't even allowed to compete at that time. She was too young. Luckily.
The happy days.
The days were a lot happier before Janja. There was one particular boulder that was a bit more dynamic, and Mina didn't do it, and I just did the jump. And somehow she did a lot better, like performance-wise in the finals than I did, but the scores just put me in the first place. And I felt so ashamed that I beat my current, like, let's say idol. I really looked up to her just by doing one jump, and she crushed everything else, but it wasn't enough with the scoring system. I forgot what happened, actually. And I was first, but I felt so embarrassed at that point. I can't explain it. I had a really bad time that evening. It's like, oh God, this is so wrong. This is so not fair. No. So it does feel really awkward when you get to compete with these women that you've been watching for so long and wanting to be as strong as they are. But the most awkward part is when their performance starts to drop. They're not your heroes anymore. I don't know. It's just kind of this spirit and this dream kind of fades away a bit. You still appreciate who they are. You still appreciate what they've done. But if you're the one to see and face and be there when this performance drop happens, yeah, it ruins your childhood a bit. But, you know, that's how it goes, I guess.
But you've done so well at many of the really big comps, you know, the European Championships, World Youth Games, European Championships, World Championships. Do you think there's something in these big events that that particularly you do? Why is it you do so well at these big comps?
I don't know. Eddie calls it the Staša big comp syndrome. I just have no idea.
A mouthful.
It just happens to be at that big comps. I guess my mind is in a really good state at this point. It's like now or never. I don't do it consciously.
Do you train differently for them? Do you train it prepared differently for them?
I am calculating and peaking my season at that particular comp. So it is the goal of the year. So my performance is meant to be at the peak at that particular moment. And also it always happened in like August, September. That was my peak every time. And that's when Munich World Cups are. That's when World Championships are. That's when everything happens, literally. So it kind of always happened that I had my best performance in the year at the Munich World Cup because it just literally happened when I was in my peak performance, accidentally, let's say. Yeah, if I have my goal set that Innsbruck World Championships will be my biggest competition of the year, all the cycling plans and everything goes around that. And that's the main goal. Like now, Boscoe, that is supposed to happen in October. That's the goal. If something happens before, okay, fine. We'll just try to get as ready as we can for that as well. But I need to be the beast at this one particular competition. And I guess it works. I mean, I don't know, it turned out that way. But the most ridiculous story is from the World Games 2017. The qualifications didn't go so well. I couldn't really activate. The boulders didn't fit me. It was hot. I was sweating. I'm the person with the sweatiest skin ever. I think everybody knows that. Like sweatiest and bloodiest skin on the circuit. Yeah. And this round just went severely bad. And I ended this round and I just couldn't handle it anymore. I had a lot of defeats that year. It was the most turbulent year climbing wise. That period of time. Changing plans, coaches and stuff was not easy at all. And I lost all the confidence I had and I was thinking on quitting literally every single comp. And then I pushed again and again and again. And then it came to the World Games. I made some changes that summer. And then again, the performance was not what I expected. And then usually the first person I see when I get out is Eddie. And then I came to him, I'm like, man, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm sick of competitions. I'm sick of underperforming. I'm just going to quit. And that's it. I didn't even see the results. I just came out and I was completely frustrated, down, hell, like crap talking all the time. And then a few hours later, it turned out I'm in finals, like on the 6th place. And Eddie was like, oh, you see, you made it. I'm like, shut up. I still feel bad. And then I won. I couldn't warm up. I couldn't do any move that the girls in the warming up area did. The Miho, Akio, Fani, they were warming up like crazy in some dyno, small crimps. I don't know. It looked really powerful. I couldn't move inside at all. Like total shit show. And I came out. My mom gave me a few slaps on the face because she saw that on some videos a long time ago that Romanian deadlifters and their coaches like slapped them in the head and through the whole body just to like make them awake. And she did this to me. And I think it did work. I climbed all the 4 boulders, the only one to topple everything, won the first senior medal in my life, the World Games, whatever. And Eddie was just sitting there and laughing at me the whole time. It's like, yeah, just go, quit. Yeah, quit, fine.
I can just imagine Eddie.
Yeah.
Oh, we talked recently about it. Like, I think a video chat with Eddie very often, really recently. So yeah, it came up also.
I'm definitely going to be watching out for your mum in the audience next time I walk past. She sounds deadly.
There are some like my parents and I are very passionate people, you know.
Well, that was clearly a very memorable event for you, but of all your other wins and podium places, what else stands out?
European Cup Championship, Munich. Absolutely the highlight of my career so far. That tension, that spirit of the Munich Olympia Stadium and all the people that are there. It's just something I really dream about every year, being at that stadium. Now that I trained in Munich for this 10 or 8 months, every time I pass by this, all the emotions come back. Like, it happened several times that I just stand there and start crying out of mixed emotions, missing everything, and just standing there imagining the crowd and that exact field where the wall usually is. It's something special for me, and that's also why I moved here. But that particular moment when I thought I had perfect performance in the semifinals, which counted as the final for the European Championship, and being very proud and very happy, and then finding out that Janja has the exact same number of attempts in every boulder, identical result, no comeback, nothing. And then we were both like, okay, now what? I was with you two guys, I think. We were together.
We were going.
We were together. What? Yeah, we were together there on the very left side, and then Janja came out. What's going on? What the hell? Yeah, we have the same score. No way. What's going to happen? No idea. Nobody knows. Johannes came. It's like, yeah, it's a super final. What? What is a super final? What does that mean? How does it look like? And then we spent I think another 30 minutes or an hour just trying to figure out the rules and what happens next. And that was hell. And then when they said it's going to be pointed as a route, like every hold counts, I lost all my hopes. I was like, no way. Janja is beating me. She's a lead climber. She's just couldn't do anything. I kind of gave up. Like, yeah, I'm just going to try and not be a loser next to her. Like, she's just starting to rise as a star and as a climbing prodigy. Who am I to compare with her,
Then you guys had this strange moment of it was like a bit of a dynamic move, wasn't it, on this black boulder, and you kept you both kept having goes, and everyone was just like, what is going on? It just turned into this emotional roller coaster.
The first weird thing was there was no defined start position, but they left the tapes on. So I asked the judge several times, can we start as we like? Yes. Can I start like this? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. Just to say, I don't have to go from an undercling and then go to the hold. And then it was this weird jump to a volcano with a thumb catch, and then your legs fly out, and then you have a traverse sequence to the right. And I thought, okay, it's a jump. Oh, I have chances now. And that's when my hopes just spiked up. And the judge said, okay, one girl goes, then the other one, and then until some of them climbs. If you climb first, you have to wait for Janja. If she beats you, she wins. If she doesn't, you win. And people got completely confused. And then I heard also some of the people complain or started shouting about the start, that I started like this, not on the marked position. And they didn't know that they could start anyhow. And then it was me and her. And it was the first move, literally, just bump, down. I go back. Janja comes in. Tuck, bump, down. Okay, Staša goes again. And you could just hear the crowd violently cheering, from, oh. Okay, she fell. Yes, next try. And then next try, and next try. And then third try, somehow, magically, I stick it. And the whole Olympic Stadium just explodes from cheering. And then I did a few moves and fell. And then that moment, waiting for her to try the ball. Oh God. I was standing there out of the exit, seeing all the crowd just wanting to bite my fingers or something. And then I heard the crowd go, ah, again. And then you can see on the video, it's online on YouTube, me running outside, starting to jump on the mat like crazy rabbit. I couldn't believe it. I literally could not believe what was happening. It was the most, let's say, magical moment of my life, where I went from complete disbelief and giving up and forcing myself to satisfy with the second place to actually winning the comp. It was unbelievable, and it still is. It's still the highlight, definitely. Everything sums up into it.
Oh God, we've got to ask you some more questions. I'm just lost. I'm lost in the moment of remembering that event. Oh my God, wow. Well, I guess actually I've got a question off the back of that. you were talking about how you live your emotions, and one thing we've seen with you, I think I said on the live stream once, you'll never make it as a poker player. You know, like we know what you're thinking. Do you think that's a good thing? How do you think people react to it? Would you prefer to change the fact that you wear your heart on your sleeve, or do you think we need more of that and we need less of this worrying about how you're perceived?
It took a lot to get frustrations under control, to get the negative feelings kept inside and not really shown in the magnitudes they actually are. So that was quite hard, I'd say. But with the positive ones and with passion and with happiness and everything, I don't mind people seeing that. That's who I am and that's who I'll always be. I don't have a need to hide that. If I feel like I'm in the good mood, I want everybody to see that I'm in the good mood. So if people are prepared to share my good mood, I'm very open to it. If they're not, sorry, party pooper, I guess. Because that's what World Cup should be. Like, that's how we did it in the Youth Cups. We had final isolation party at the back of the wall, dancing, us crazy girls. I enjoyed every single moment of it. And then I came to the senior comp, and that was a completely different thing. That was just not what I expected. And I'm still having a hard time in finals now. The amount of fun and dynamics kind of lack in finals. It's for me, it's too slow. It's too tense. It's too distracting. It's just not so dynamic. I like semifinals the most. It's just like 1, 2, 3, 4 hard boulders. You don't have time to think at all. You just have to do your maximum. 5 in, 5 out. It's usually super hard boulders. So you don't even have time to think during those 5 minutes when you're resting. You just have to get psychologically ready and rest your body and breathe as much as you can in these 5 minutes and get ready to get back on the wall. That's my favorite part, I think. And finals is a complete game changer. So I think I did a good job in Innsbruck a few years ago with headphones and distractions and keeping my hype alive, because the hype actually gets me my good performance. If I'm relaxed, I can't perform. It's just the way it is. I tried many times, different techniques and strategies. It just doesn't work for me. I have to be angry and psyched.
Let's just change gears a little bit here, Staša. Talk something other than climbing. Well, actually, a climbing competition a couple of years ago, I was at the breakfast bar with quite a few of the athletes. You were there at the Studio Blockmasters, and you were doing some work on the table. And we were all kind of headaches and stuff after the after party, and you were studying. And it was actually after you had hurt your knee there at the Studio Blockmasters the day before. So there was a little bit of kind of like, trying to make small talk and stuff. So I said, what are you up to? You know, kind of what you're doing there. And all I could see was just a blizzard of numbers on a piece of paper. So obviously I had pretty much no idea what it was. But you seem extremely intelligent, and you managed to mix study and climbing seemingly well. I think you've got a degree in electrical power engineering. Is that right? I hope I'm right on that. Not many people get to study to that level and perform at your level at the same time. How do you find that balance?
First, thanks for the compliments. I wouldn't say I'm exceptionally intelligent. I just have a feeling for maths. It's also a part of growing up. I've been around maths for a long time, and also like climbing. If I see that I'm good at something, that's something I should pursue and get a benefit of. Yeah, I have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, and currently I'm doing my master's in electrical power engineering. I mean, the program is officially called power engineering because it combines also the mechanical part, which I'm honestly not really interested in, but okay. Trying to cheat the system a bit.
Google.
Yeah. But yes, I think that without studying, I can't do one thing without the other. I can't climb without studying, and I can't study without climbing. Last year was exactly that. I was studying without much climbing, and that was okay while I was still doing my thesis, and it was all the mess in the last years of studies. But then I was like a normal person for 2 or 3 months without studying, without climbing. And I think that was the worst period of my life last year. Luckily, I got to training again. I got to start climbing. I got to start university. So all the whole rhythm resumed in October when I moved to Munich.
Obviously, last year was a really important year, as well as being quite a frustrating year, being an Olympic selection year. But how did you feel about the Olympic combined format when it was first announced? Like, as a junior, you were really into lead and boulder, but not so much into speed. What did you think about the combined format initially?
I was doing speed also at the youth cups. When I was youth B, I also had some medals and the speed European cups. I was second in the middle of Moscow. I mean, imagine that. I'm still not extremely happy about it, of course, and neither am happy about combined in Paris for bouldering and lead. Any kind of combination at this level is not really what it brings. It's not really what you want to see. You don't want to see average performance. You don't want to see somebody who can do everything. You want to see the elite, the best of the best. But I guess our hands are tied and we can't do anything about it. So we just had to go with the flow. We're the first generations to do it. Maybe in 12 years, there will be 3 different disciplines and people will just do what they do best and fight for the biggest medals. Now we're the ones to sacrifice and just do what we have to do for the next generation to come. That's it.
+1.
Mm.
I agree. But it's kind of hard to believe we're talking about the combined format because obviously last year didn't start very well for you, to put it mildly. You snapped your ACL, which is, I'm a big skier, and it's kind of a skier's injury. You know, everyone snaps their ACL sooner or later, but it's not something you hear about that often in climbing. And I thought that was you out of the Olympics because, like, even to get back for March of this year would have been a big challenge. But what was the initial reaction, I guess, when you realised what had happened? Did the determination kick in straight away, or is it just a period of just being
immediately
crushed?
It was
really.
I mean, it was really complex. I was training for the Olympics and I had big plans for Hachioji and for Toulouse, and I've put a lot of work that winter. I also made some changes, and it started going really well. And at that moment, when I fell down, my first thought, it's over.
Did you know it was I've heard people snap their ACL and say they just know it's their ACL, even though they've never done it before.
I knew it was bad.
Right.
I wasn't sure if it was bones and all the ligaments, but I just knew this is really bad. That I've never felt that kind of pain in my life. It's because I hit bones to bones, and I had severe bone bruising. And my first thought...
Go for a second.
It was severely terrible to think about anything. It was the first thought was it's over. It was kind of a relief because I was under a lot of pressure. It's like, okay, I don't have to do this. But you think about it a month later, it was just like, okay, that was not good to think. I do want to do this. And I was kind of trying to familiarize myself with not having any hope for Olympics anymore, to just throw away the next 2 seasons. But then there were people around, even the same day, next 2 days that I spent in Darmstadt. Yeah, you can do it. You still have time until, whatever, when, March. And I didn't want to believe that. I just wanted it to go away. It was too much to think about. But then the recovery went well, and it got faster and faster, and I started climbing with one leg already, like after a month or 2. I was climbing with one leg and partially using the other one already before the surgery. I did some 7C routes outside. I was kind of enjoying, like, the day before the surgery, I was bouldering in my local gym in Maribor with some friends, and my parents were there, and it was a nice session before the surgery. But then, yeah, it took some time. I followed the protocol strictly, and I think it went pretty perfect. The physio follow-up was amazing later on, all the trainings and things. And I got to be extremely functional already in September, October, and with actually severe trainings with good results. November, December, January, February, I was really fit this year. I was light, strong. Got to relearn the moves. The biggest problem was so many moves came out last year. Root setters invented a whole bunch of things that I didn't even get to try. And then just like I start climbing and I can't do single boulder in the gym on the comp wall because I don't know these moves, never seen them in my life. I mean, I saw them, but I never faced them. I know, like jump and toe hook catch and whatever. That was like, I felt like I was from the previous century, literally. It took a lot of time to practice this and then change the root setting areas. And I think I hate last year. This is something that still hurts me so badly. It ruined my plans. It ruined my climbing. It's a big injury, both physical and mental, that I may not ever recover from. I still have pain in my knee. I do trainings regularly. Knee rehab is something that I'll probably do for the rest of my sports career. Because if I don't, I can't jump anymore. I can't run. I'm in pain, even worse pain than in general. Like I have this chronic burning in the patellar tendon, because that's where the graft was taken from. And it's not really well circulated. So in the evening when I'm relaxing or I'm watching something and I sit in one position with the bent knee, I can't move it. I can't straighten out the leg without pain. So it's like every day now and in 4 days, it will be 1 year exactly from the surgery. And it will still remain that way, but that's something I got to live with. Can't change that.
We obviously really hope you make it to Tokyo 2020 or Tokyo 2021. But if you don't, are you interested in going for Paris 2024? You've said that the format isn't ideal, but is it something that
it's better than this current format, so
yeah.
That's a plus. I'm thinking about it, and I think I would like to, because with me, I'm always like, no, I don't want to bother with that anymore. But I know I do. So it seems now that it's like in 5 years' time, it's going to be, wow, huge amount of time. But if I want to continue climbing on this level, and if I still want to be in a foreign country, I need to study. So I guess I'll be aiming for my PhD or just like stretching my master's as much as I can. That's the best strategy for being efficient in training, because if I don't study, I'd have to work to be in Germany or in Slovenia or wherever. I'd have to work, but if I work, I can't train. So that kind of does not go with each other. Studying still works. So it's a big decision to make. I hope I can make it, but we'll see. We don't know what happens next week, so
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we hope to see you at one Olympics, whichever one it is, or maybe both.
I hope so too. That's a big dream.
Definitely.
We'll see.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh God, I miss climbing. I miss chatting with you guys.
Oh, we miss you too.
Yeah.
You got me so emotional right now.
I was just about to say, actually, especially after you said you don't get enough sleep and you're studying and you're climbing and it's so full on. We won't take any more of your time, but I was going to say we miss you, and we miss your family, your dad and your mum are just.
Yeah, I miss them. I haven't seen them since.
Oh, of course,
February.
Yeah. But they're big, along with you. They're big parts of the scene for me.
Yeah, they are.
They're fun people. But I got to say, I can't remember the last time we did an interview, and in the course of an hour, I felt like laughing and crying, and it makes me realise we miss having you around as a person and a competitor, because it's always a journey.
Shut up, Charlie.
Sorry.
Yeah, literally close to it.
But whenever it is, we're looking forward to getting you all back, the whole family, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later. Hopefully it's, but really nice to catch
hope
up.
It happens. Yeah.
Really nice to catch
I'm
you.
I'm really glad we talked. We haven't talked properly since Studio Block, I think. So,
yeah, it's been too long. So
it's been way too long, and this is my second season for not competing, so I'm going crazy. I just miss everything so much. You can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's strange, hey.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for your time. We do appreciate it. And
thanks for inviting me. Thanks.
Let's keep in touch.
Yes, we should. Yeah.
Thanks, Staša.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.